fifth hour, I had band. And band, we didn't do anything. Like, literally, I had me and some friends at the time. You know, we all sat there back in the corner. We just talked. Like, literally, I think, like, band, well, like, that day, band fifth hour, and band, my band teacher had brought somebody in to, you know, help him with the, like, parades and whatever they had going on that week. It was like the week before spring break. Keep that in mind, the week before spring break. So basically, we're gonna name this guy John, and I'm gonna try not to cuss because I really want to cuss, but I'm not gonna cuss. But we're gonna name him John. So basically, John had came up to us that, you know, lovely fifth hour, March 23rd of 2016. And just came up to us and started talking to us about band camp and just saying like, oh, you guys should come. We go down there every summer to go to Florida. You know, we do like, I don't know what was happening, but all I know, he was talking and I was just like, I don't even care because I'm not going to no band camp because listen, I don't like to be far away from home. So it's just, I don't know what you're sitting here telling me this for because it's kind of pointless. But anyway, so basically in the midst of that, it was ignoring everything he's saying. So I was like, hey, to my friend, I'm gonna name her Crystal. So I'm like, hey, look, Crystal. I'm showing her a picture of my mom. Like, hey, my mom's so pretty, ain't she? Like, just showing her. Now I like doing that though, because you know, I'm trying to flex with my mama. But anyway, so basically, I showed her my mom, and then he was like, let me see. I'm like, I don't want to show you a picture of my mother. But anyway, I'm like, here you go. He like, oh, I know your mom. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't know my mama. You don't know my mama. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like, this man couldn't possibly know my mama. And then he was like, yeah, and I know your dad too. He's like, your dad, he work on cars. And I was just like, hold on. It just felt like he just pulled it out. And from the jump, his vibes just felt weird. Like something about him was not right. And I was like, you guys to back away. Don't keep coming up here talking to us. Like, this is weird. So, boom. And at the time, I don't know if this got something to do or made him like think that, you know, I was the one. But so basically, in the midst of after that, he had, you know, asked us like, hey, type in y'all Facebooks. And it was me, Crystal, and I'm gonna name the other guy Joe. So Joe, we all typed our Facebook names in his phone. You know that part in mind that my phone was off, and you know I couldn't see his you know, friend request until later on. So boom, I had got home that day. I remember like around 7, I noticed like, oh, his friend request is there. I'm like, okay. And I started looking through his page, like, cause something about him was not right. Like something about him was not right. I promise y'all. So boom. So basically I get to look and I'm like, oh, he friends with one of my mom's cousins. So I'm like, maybe she know them. Cause you know, like older people, they don't really like add people on Facebook just because, you know, they add them cause you know, they know them. So I'm like, okay. So boom. So I'm like, okay, I added him back. So basically, he inboxed me like, oh, so you play the clarinet? I'm like, yeah, I told you that earlier. Like, he asked him like, oh, so you said that right? I'm like, yeah, okay. So me, I'm just thinking like, why are you inboxing me? Because I don't want to talk to you. Because it took me forever to even respond back to what he said. So I'm just like, boom. So I'm just going to put the like, you know, screenshot up on here somewhere. And he said in the screenshot that y'all will see, he said, he would talk to, you know, our band teacher about like giving us some type of band classes and giving us $150 each, me and my friend Crystal, $150 each to learn some things about the clarinets. I'm like, yeah, because like I don't know too many high notes, blah blah blah. And he said if the band teacher said he could not do that, he was gonna pay us under the table. I'm like, so at that point I was just like, why are you talking to me, sir? Like, why are you talking to me? Like, I was just very confused. So, like, this is weird. Like, why are we having this conversation? So, I just said, okay, and I left it at that. And then he texted me 3 times. I thought it was twice, but it was 3 times. He texted me, what you doing? And then after that, he texted me, like, what you up to? And then he's like, what's your favorite pizza? I ignored him, like, because I'm like, you're weird. Because, like, what is your point, sir? Like, what's the point of you texting me? Like, so after that, I went to school the next day. Like, it's like the day before, like, spring break about to happen. So everybody's acting off the wall, including me. So I get to 5th hour, and, you know, I see Joe and Crystal standing out there. I'm like, oh, what y'all doing? Why y'all not in the classroom? Like, you know, they usually be in the corner waiting for me. Like, hey, you know, type situation. So, she's sitting there, and she was like, did John inbox you? I'm like, yeah, why? And she's like, I gotta show you something. I don't really remember how the conversation went, but I'm gonna show y'all the screenshots of what this man said. So basically, he was having a normal conversation like he was having with me, but with her. So basically, with her. So basically, he sat there and was like, do you think I gotta ask you a question? Would it be bad or something? He said something along those lines, like, if I offer, you know, this 15-year-old girl, $500 to eat her out, she was like, yeah, dude, that's weird. And then he was like, so what about 1,000? Like, the money was gonna make it better. Cause listen, there was no money, an amount of money in the world that anybody could have paid me to do that. Like, no, that's weird. And like, no, I got so much respect for my fucking self. I got so much respect for myself. So it could never be serious. Like, no, it could never. Like, no. So me instantly see that, I flip out. Like, what is happening? Like, I already knew something was weird about this dude. Like, I was just hoping it was not gonna go that far. Like, it. Listen. So me, I just started, you know, like, what do we do now? So we all sit here and stand outside the classroom, and then 2 other guys come up. They don't come to school like that. They didn't come to school like that. One of the dudes was like, bro, I be dude up, blah, blah, blah. And he actually cussed, but I'm not gonna cuss though. He was like, I be dude up. I'm like, so that's not take it that far. So me, I call my mom. My mom's at work, mind you, working on a nice long 8-hour shift. So boom, I called. I'm like, Ma, guess what? And I'm so dramatic when I call my mom, by the way. So I'm like, Ma, guess what? She like, what? I'm like, this dude, he was being weird, and you know, blah blah blah. He offered me $1,000 to eat me out. She was like, Tasia, I'm at work. Like, what's like, what's like? She was like, stop playing. I'm like, Mom, I'm not playing. Like, I'm serious. She was like, all right, I'll call you back. And I should have known from that little, all right, I'll call you back, that some shit was about to happen. So, boom, we all sitting here trying to figure out, like, how we gonna go to class? Like, what's about to happen? It's a hall suite. The bell already rung. We sitting here scared to death to go in the classroom. Even the boys, it's like 3 boys and 2 girls. So we all just like, because the man was in the classroom at this time. To throw this out, the man was in the classroom after we had this conversation. After he inboxed her and told her that, like, she was not going to tell me. So, boom. We just like, dang, like, how we gonna tell, you know, the teacher? So I'm like, where is he at? So boom. So we started to like look around, like, where is he at? Where is he at? They like, he not in the classroom. So I finally see him, and it's like the bell already rung. Everybody out the hallway. I don't know what's going on or what's been happening in the hallways to have all the principals and deans irritated, but I guess somebody pissed in this lady's Cheerios that day. So I see my teacher. He next to the I'm gonna call my teacher Mr. Lutz. I'm just gonna go off that name. So boom. So I see Mr. Lutz, and I'm like, oh, there you go right there. I'm like, hey. No, I'm not gonna try to be that loud because I'm real quiet. I'm like, help, come here. I need you. And he like in his own little world, like he didn't hear me at all. But the principal heard me, and she's standing right next to him. So he go in the office, and she's like, young lady, what are you doing outside your classroom? I'm like, I need to talk to Mr. Lutz. It's an emergency. Like, I really need to talk to him. She was like, no, you can wait. Go back to your classroom and blah, blah. Like, she getting loud. I'm like, okay, lady. Like, I don't really care to hear what you gotta say. Like, okay. That's all I said, and I just walked away. Like, I really wanted to cut into her, but it was really not the time. It was really not the time. So we all just sat there and was like, you know what? We're just gonna go in the classroom. We're gonna protect each other, and we're just gonna go. But it turned into a freaking mess show. We was literally all running around the classroom trying to avoid this man, but he had came to the conclusion that, you know, she told me and everybody knew about it. So, and mind you, this man bought pizza before that. He's like, oh, he's like, y'all want some pizza? I said, no, I don't want no pizza from you, sir. Like, no. So, but he had came to the conclusion that we all found out. So he just walked out mid-classroom. Like, you supposed to be in here watching us. Like, literally walk straight out. Didn't say a word to the teacher, no nothing. Just walked straight out. Didn't say nothing. So, like with a walk of fucking shame. Like, I'm just like, sir, like, you walking out and just like, you should have never said that in the first place. That's something you should have kept to yourself. Like, people are weird. So boom, class had ended and 6 hour had came and I was not able to talk to anybody about it or talk to my band teacher about it. So I was just like, I'm going to go to the assistant principal. So I asked my 6 hour teacher, which was crazy. I didn't think he was going to let me go because I didn't do no work in there. But he was like, go ahead. So boom, I go there and I get to tell him like, so, hey, because I'm like, this is an uncomfortable conversation. So I was like, hey, and I'm just weird. I don't know. I'm weird with stuff. So I'm like, hey, you know, Mr. Such and Such. He like, what's up? So I'm like, so there was a man that was in the band room and he offered me $1,000 to perform oral sex on me. And mind you, at the time, my assistant principal was eating while I'm telling his story. He said, that's disgusting. What's happening? Like, where does this man come from? Like, he's supposed to be there to help Mr. Lutz and blah, blah, blah. So boom, he's like, I gotta call your mom and tell her like this is like, oh, like all things that could have happened today. Like, I'm like, right. Like, I'm the step. I'm like, right. Like, you know, having a little black conversation, like, you know, you're right, you know, type of situation. So boom, I go to class, back to class. I'm just sitting here flabbergasted, shocked. I have no way of contacting my mother. I don't know what's going on. I have no internet. So boom, I go to 7th hour. He called me down again. What this man want? Like, what's going on? Like, what all do I have to say to like get this man in trouble? So boom, I go down to the principal's office and he sits there. He's like, so I just got off the phone with your mom. I'm like, okay. I'm just sitting there like, hey, okay. He like, what is this that I hear that your teacher gave you a condom? I'm like, my mom really said something about that. So boom, which I understand completely. Like, I understand completely. So boom, because my mom thought they were the same people. So boom, my band teacher, Mr. Letts. So basically, he takes a condom one day. Like, I was asking for a hall pass to go to my next class because my next teacher be yakking me. So boom. So he put a condom in my hand. I was like, no, you can have that back. I don't want that. Can I get a hall pass? He was like, no, here you go. And with the class. I just want to say this. Like, Mr. Lutz has always been funny. This is not his real name. But, Mr. Lutz has always been funny. He's like, I never like felt like he was like trying to hit on me or nothing like that or try to be sexual or any form of way. I just think it was like a joke, which it was an inappropriate joke to do, but still, I just thought it was funny. So, and plus the school that I was at, you like, what would you expect? Like, people having sex over like 4th floor. So I had to explain the situation to my assistant principal of like what happened and everything else with the teacher, but like his focus is off this man for some reason. I'm like, that's the guy that y'all need to get. Quit focusing on my teacher. Like, he was my favorite teacher. But so boom, I tell him what happened. I go back to my 7th hour class. I let them know. I was talking like to my friends about it, and then boom, I go to 8th hour. I'm just sitting there, you know, in my own little world. And then my teacher like, the assistant principal needs to see you down in the office literally a couple of minutes before the bell rings. Mind you, it's spring break. Go home. My mom and dad, everybody just sitting in the living room. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, everybody knows now. So my dad get the question like, what? Like, who's this man? I'll beat him up, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we don't need to take it that far, but we do need to take it that far, but calm down. And my mom was mad, and like everybody's like, I'm like, I don't know what to think about this situation. Like, like it was just so much, y'all. Like I was just flabbergasted, like at the most. Like this man is like almost 32 years old trying to talk to a 15-year-old. Like, and mind y'all, let me put this out there. Like when he added me on Facebook, I noticed that he had like 3 little girls. I'm like, you got 3 little girls. You work at this band camp. You've been here before. So it's not like, who else have you been doing this to or tried to do this to? This probably, like, they probably didn't tell, like, or they probably just thought like, yeah, well, he probably not gonna get it. I don't know what they thought, but I'm pretty sure this happened before. I'm not the only person. I'm just the only person that it really came to light with. So, because I don't play that, and I would never. Even if it was a person my age, I would never. But, it was just like, that man was just weird to me. So I got home, got on Facebook, blocked him immediately. And, you know, my mom had already posted a post on there that same day and was like, I will put it in a screenshot, right? I will put the screenshot in there. And basically, that status she made got shared over and over and over again. And parents started to talk about it. The kids started to talk about it. And mind y'all, this is for spring break, so I can't go back the next day or the following Monday to go tell my teacher, like, hey, this is what happened. So everybody started sharing this status, but everybody didn't, like, I guess, read it. They just, you know, heard what they heard and ran with it. So my mom posted the screenshots. I sent the screenshots to her. My mom posted it on Facebook and posted the screenshots of, like, my friend messages. And, you know, shared it to, you know, let's show awareness, like, this is what's happening, like, this offer may have been offered to your daughter or something like that. So she showed the man's Facebook. She didn't care, like, I would have too, but she didn't care, like, it's over, it's free game. So basically, everybody just had a field day with this man. They got on Facebook, started tagging him, sending him friends requests, sending him messages, all types of stuff, like, whole Toledo yakking him on Facebook. I'm just sitting back, and then everybody making statuses like, oh, somebody try to get Mr. Let's fired, blah, 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 and all this extra stuff, just saying all types of stuff out there, like, but, like, literally. But the whole spring break go past, and I'm just, like, over it. Like, I really don't want to keep hearing about it. Like, this is disgusting, disturbing, like, ugh, I just can't believe somebody would sit there and try to offer me something like that. I didn't even give off that impression that I was that type of girl. But, so basically, a week go past, spring break go past, and we go back to school, and I finally, you know, get to walking around. I hear everybody conversation, like, little, like, it was like a straight movie, like, hearing everybody conversation, like, oh, did you hear that? Somebody tried to get Mr. Les fired, blah, blah, blah. You know, they catching up on TV, like, they just dragging my name through the dirt. They're like, oh, she had to been a freshman. She had to been one of those little dirty girls trying to get. I'm like, I'm not dirty. I'm not with them little ugly. I'm not none of that. Y'all just got the story misconstrued. They thought I was trying to get him fired. In reality, it was just like a whole misunderstanding. But more of just everybody gonna take bits and parts of, like, a situation and mix it up and turn it to their own story. So, like, I had to go walk through the school, walk through the halls, and hear everybody, like, basically talk about me, but they not knowing it's me. Just, I even had a point in the classroom where somebody sat there and was like, like, did y'all hear about that girl that tried to, like, get somebody's mom got on Facebook and try to say, like, oh, Mr. Let's try to talk to her, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's probably some dusty, oh, sorry, excuse me. It's probably some dusty little freshman, blah, blah, blah. I'm just sitting there like this. I didn't even say nothing. I just sat there. I was like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. Like, that's all I could say. Like, there's nothing I could say. I couldn't just say nothing from the horse's mouth, or I guess I would have got in trouble. I wish I would have said something still to this day, but I'm saying something now. But basically, I ended up telling, you know, the girl that, you know, was sitting there telling me, like, oh, like that, all that extra stuff, that, you know, it was me. She was like, oh, it was you, like, what happened? Like, she ended up like, oh, well, you know, like, fuck it. Like, it was funny though, like, to be honest, to hear everybody talk about it, but then not know what they was talking about. But this is the end of the story, I guess. So basically, the man walked away, never came back. I ended up talking to my teacher, and he ended up calling my mom, trying to talk it out, but my mom didn't want to hear it because she didn't like that whole condom situation. And the man, I never seen him again. Blocked him. Everybody had a field day with him or whatever, etc., etc. But it was cool. Yeah. But thanks for watching my YouTube video, and you guys have a blessed one. So my band teacher didn't get fired. He still worked there to this day. And the assistant principal got fired that summer for a sexual assault case with a teacher. Crazy, isn't it?